So Chardonnay 548 was actually selected back in the late 70s. So it's been around a while in France, but only arrived, came out of quarantine, our quarantine, in 2005. And the very first year that we had any fruit on here was 07, and we did a microvinification across all the ENTAV imports. And from the very first microvin, people started getting pretty excited what they were tasting. And since then, we've basically sold out every year. And as quickly as we can plant more and bring it into production, as Messiah would block, the orders are rolling out in front of us. So what are they liking about it? It seems to be a moderate cropper. It's not a heavily productive clone. It's moderate cropping, moderate sized bunches, reasonably open bunches. Fairly consistent, not too much hen and chicken in there, but it seems to have a thicker skin, and as a result, all of those things, it seems very botrytis tolerant. So over the last 5 years, it's always stood up very well. The row next door, 121, might be crashing badly. This is still looking very clean. Nick, you've been tasting the fruit on these over the years, and do you want to talk to us about what you're seeing and what the winemakers' comments are about the flavours in the fruit?
Yes, we've had a lot of winemakers come and look at this and get very excited about it, and excited from a flavour point of view. And I think, as Jeff's just said, the bunches are quite a bit shorter, more compact. That's perhaps a little bit longer one there, but they're very loose. There's a lot of elasticity in there. There's room for those berries to expand within that bunch. So as Jeff said, a little less problems with botrytis and any other rots. Seems to have quite a thick skin, and the flavours are very, very pronounced, and we get good citrus flavours, nice tropical, banana-y type flavours, and I think it lends itself to winemaking. And as Jeff said, the microvins we made, many of the winemakers just, man, if you gave this fruit some oak, it would be fantastic. And I think that to me was really saying something about the quality of this. So I look at it as better than Chardonnay Mendoza and better than Chardonnay 95, and I think that's what we're seeing out in the field. We're looking forward to some commercial wines of this coming out as well. So,
in terms of other comments from the winemakers and just what we're seeing with, it seems to flower just a few days earlier than the likes of Chardonnay 6. It ripens up a little bit earlier. It has the highest sugar levels of all of the ENTAV clones, if you look through their catalogue. So all of those things augur very well for it, and great flavours. And the comments, the consistent comment we get is right through that ripening, even though it's the brix comes up and it's got great sugar loading in it. Yep. It's got a really nice nice acid balance in there, and it retains that acidity right through the ripening, and that's what's coming through in the wine. So great flavours, good acid, sugar balance. Like I say, people are excited to the point where every year so far we can't graft enough of it.
Exactly.
On that note, and it's interesting, it's a point well worth making. We can't just go and produce more budwood overnight. As I said, everything in here is on its own roots. Everything in here is totally traceable back to the original vine in France, in ENTAV, where they supplied it, and they can trace it right back through France, through their original selection program. It's only with ENTAV clones are the only material, and anything Riversun has brought in from overseas, where we can do that. And that allows us to certify to the clone. So everything else we've talked about, all the Chardonnay, clone 6, Chardonnay 95, clone 15, they're called clones, but in fact we have no traceability, and we have no way of proving they are in fact those clones. Everything that Riversun has brought in since 2003, we've re-established that provenance or maintain that provenance from the country of origin right through to these vines. So that's through quarantine, through rapid multiplication, through planting. So that's a really important point for people to understand. So when the demand for 548 explodes in front of us, I can't just go to a client's vines which we have grafted and they've planted in their vineyard and harvest that wood. Firstly, we've lost traceability the day that we hand it to them. If they have planted and mixed up, we don't know. And also they are grafted, so there's the risk of minor viruses being introduced through that grafting process. Like I say, they're minor, and but they can make ever such subtle differences to the clonal properties and the flavours. So that's Chardonnay 548. The The next one we'd like to look at is Chardonnay 809, which is a really interesting Chardonnay. Most people, when they taste it, certainly when they taste the wine, if it's made purely from that clone, would swear it's not a Chardonnay. Let's go and have a look at it and a bit of a taste on it and explain why we sometimes get that reaction.